Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. I've been asked in the comments multiple times now to do a video on how to do a Form 1 SBR. And so that is what we're going to do today. I'm going to at least tell you how I do it. Because there are a few different ways that you can go at it. But to me, I think that this is the easiest way. Now, it does cost a little bit more money than your $200 tax stamp. But at that point, I mean, what's a few more bucks? Especially, when you think about all the money you put into a gun that you're going to SBR anyway. And to me, it is worth a little bit extra for the ease and convenience. So I'm going to explain how I like to do it. If you go about it a different way, I mean, there's paper forms and there's e-forms. I use e-forms, but I also do it kind of a very specific way. But I think that it is the easiest way. So we're going to get into that right now. If you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed and let's begin. This video is brought to you by Stopbox. This one specifically with this cable attached to it, I keep in my truck. And Stopbox has a number of accessories like this cable that attach seamlessly so that you can do things like that. This end loops around the part, under your seat or wherever you want it to be. And then this is stuck in there, and I think that it is the quickest access to lock up your firearm in your vehicle. If you need your gun, put in your code, and you have it that fast. So why SBR when pistol braces like this SBA3 exist? I have a few reasons for it, but my main one being that, if I'm gonna put in the time and the money to put together a rifle exactly the way that I want it to be, well, then I want it to be exactly the way that I want it to be. And that means putting the stock that I want on it, as well as a vertical foregrip if I want to. And so by SBRing your shorter barreled gun, then you have the freedom. I know that sounds funny because it's literally an infringement on your freedoms to even have to do this. But legally then, you have the freedom to set your gun up the way that you like. You can absolutely choose not to SBR your gun, and I totally understand that. Just understand that if you want to keep it legal, then you have to use a pistol brace and either an angled foregrip or a hand stop. This actually does work as a hand stop rather than a vertical foregrip. But if you're going to run suppressors and stuff already anyway, which I absolutely believe in, I mean, you're already into the NFA game. In my opinion, might as well SBR your gun as well and be able to run the stock. Now, why? Well, a stock just feels better and it looks better. That's kind of all there really is to it. So I SBR'd a bunch of my shorter guns a few years ago, and I've been running stocks on all of them. And then I put together this Mark 18, and I have filed for the Form 1, for the tax stamp. It's been 2 months now, and I still haven't gotten the approval, but I don't really ever seem to get quick approvals. Although in this video, I will give you a hint on how to get your approval quicker, even if it hasn't worked for me this time. But my point being, this is the first time I shot a gun with a pistol brace in a couple of years, is once I got this Mark 18 finished. And you know what? There is a difference. This thing feels just kind of jankier. I mean, you can kind of hear it moving around on there and stuff. The stocks are just more solid. That's all there is to it. The stocks feel better to shoot. Now, you see me shouldering this. Yes, I do shoulder pistol braces. You can do that. It is totally legal to occasionally shoulder a pistol brace, even though that's not what it's designed for. But that's not the point of this video. Let's get into the point of it, which is how to SBR a gun. Because I've gotten this question a few times now in the comments, and I remember before I got a single NFA item, it was something that kind of seemed daunting to me at first, not understanding the process or what I would have to do in order to do that process. And so for a long time, I just ran pistol braces on all of my shorter guns, and I didn't have suppressors. Once I decided to get my first suppressor, which was this one, Well, then, that's how I learned how to go through the process. And I learned it with the help of my local gun shop, Guffey's Gun and Pawn. They've been very helpful with all kinds of things in my firearms journey, especially before I really knew anything. And the easiest way to get into the NFA thing is with a silencer shop kiosk. And if your local gun store doesn't have one, don't worry, there's probably one near you that does, especially if you live in a freer state. A lot of gun stores, especially gun stores that deal in NFA items, such as suppressors, many of them now have silencer shop kiosks. And they make purchasing a suppressor very easy because back in the day, in order to get a suppressor, and I know we're talking about SBRs in this video, but we're going to get to that in a second. In order to get a suppressor, you had to actually file a form it was a paper form. You had to go get fingerprints and send those in. You had to get a signature from your chief law enforcement officer. Send that in. You had to get passport photos. Send all this stuff in, and you had to have multiple copies of them and all this stuff. And then you had to wait for a really long time. You had no idea if all your stuff was correct, and you would just hope that you got an approval eventually. Well, Silencer Shop with their kiosk, it kind of does it all right there for you. The machine itself takes your fingerprints, and it lets you know as you're doing each finger when it is good and when it's accepted. You get your picture taken right there, and it is added electronically into your file. It automatically sends that letter to your chief law enforcement officer, and so you don't have to deal with that. And so really, you just pick your suppressor, and then you just go through the steps on the Silencer Shop kiosk. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this in a video about SBRs is because once you've gotten a suppressor through the Silencer Shop kiosk, well, then Silencer Shop has all of that information on file for you, making it very easy the next time you want to get another suppressor, because generally you're probably not going to get just one. I got this little 30 cal suppressor from Whip Machine. Now I own 3 suppressors, and I've got another Otter Creek Labs 30 cal suppressor on back order because I'm so impressed with the 5.56 suppressor that I've got on my Mark 18 right now. But I run it on all of my 5.56 guns. The point is, it's nice to have that stuff on file so that you can access it again next time you want an NFA item. And when I say NFA item, I don't mean just suppressors. If you want to do an SBR, I think that the easiest way to do it is through Silencer Shop. Now, you don't have to go back to the kiosk again. As long as your picture is current, which I think it lasts a year, and I have had to get new pictures taken, I think the last time when I did this suppressor. But as long as your picture is current, and all you have to do is, go to your gun shop and get another picture taken if it's been over a year since your last NFA item. Well, all that other stuff is still in their system, and it's all good. And you can do the SBR thing from your home. So, first of all, you're going to have a gun. You're going to put your gun together. It's going to be in pistol format, meaning with or without a brace, but definitely not with a stock on it if you want it to be legal, right? So you put your gun together, get on Silencer Shop's website, which you're going to have an account with them already if you've done a suppressor. And basically you're going to, they sell you a Form 1 service, and they do charge $50 for it. So you're already paying the government $200 for the tax stamp, which is ridiculous after all of the money that you spent on your gun that you want to SBR. And then you're going to pay Silencer Shop an extra $50 to use their service. But to me, that is worth it. My time is worth more than $50. So I charge more than that per hour for what I do for work. And so for me to have to go out and get fingerprints done and pictures and letters from chief law enforcement officer and all that, to me, the cost is greater than $50. And so to me, it's worth paying Silencer Shop $50 to do that all for me. So basically, you get on there, you purchase their Form 1 service, and you purchase a tax stamp with that service. You're going to pay them $250. It actually comes out to $255. But you know, I mean, if you've done trusts and stuff, you understand that those cost more too. We're talking about individual right now because that's how I've done all of mine. And that's also how you're going to get quicker approvals these days. Approvals are coming back much quicker than they used to, specifically for individual Form 1s and Form 4s, not as much for trust, though it seems. So I've been doing all mine individual. I'm the only one that uses my guns anyway, right? So anyway, you purchase that service and then they basically are going to ask you all the same questions that you get asked when you fill out a Form 4473 to buy a firearm, and you better know how to answer those correctly. The first answer is yes, and all the rest are no, basically, if I remember it correctly, which I did just do a 4473 recently for the Shield Plus Carry Comp there. So, but yeah, you just answer the same questions that you do when you're filling out the form to buy a firearm at your local gun store. But you can do it from your computer at home. Then it's going to ask you some questions about the firearm itself. And, you know, it's going to ask you like overall length, barrel length, caliber. And it's going to ask you to submit a photograph of the serial number. Now, I have heard conflicting reports. I'm pretty sure that you might not actually have to submit that photograph, but that you probably will get a quicker approval if you do. You're going to be giving them the serial number anyway. It's, you know, to me, I mean, you're already getting put on the list. You're doing NFA items. So I take a photograph of that part with the marking, with the serial number, the manufacturer. Although when it asks for the manufacturer, you are the manufacturer. You are manufacturing an NFA item. You are taking something that is not a short-barreled rifle and making it a short-barreled rifle. So technically, you are the manufacturer. But it's also going to want to know the make and model of the gun, in which case, like an AR-15 like this, like I put it all together. Most of these I did, you know, so there is no real make and model, but there kind of is. The make and model is the lower, because the lower receiver is the part that is the serialized portion. It is what is considered the firearm. So you're not going to put in Mark 18 for something like this. It's going to be, you know, for mine, it's like Griffin Armament Mark II 5.56. It's going to ask you for the caliber, and then it's going to ask you for the overall length. And it tells you exactly how they want you to measure that, which I think has changed over the years. Maybe not. So maybe it's just different for when you're doing a SBR approval. Because I know that when it came to measuring your gun as far as overall length for whether it's a rifle or a pistol, it's like, you know, buffer tube without a bracer stock on it to the end of the barrel with no muzzle device. Well, that is not true when you go to file for your SBR. They want to know what the length is, like with your stock fully extended. Anyway, it tells you on there exactly how to measure it the way that they want it. It even gives you nice little pictures. And that's the thing about the Silencer Shop website, is that it just kind of helps you along. It makes everything very clear and very easy. And to me, the ease of use is what makes it worth that extra $50. Not to mention, like I said, my time is worth more than that. Having to go out and do all those things individually would take more time than what the $50 is worth to me. But also just the ease. If you've ever been on ATF's website, or the actual, you know, NFA website, it's like from 1984, man. It is not, it's not an easy website to use. Let me just put it that way. But you will have to have an account with eForms as well. eForms.atf.gov. You're going to have an account there. But again, if you've done a suppressor or any other NFA items in the past, you already have an account. You're going to have a PIN number and a login, credentials, and all that stuff. So you do the Silencer Shop part, and then you do have to do the ATF part. But Silencer Shop submits all your stuff for you, your fingerprints, your picture, the law enforcement letter, all the information about your firearm, all the questions that you answered that are like the same as the 4473. They do all that for you. They submit it all for you, but they check it first for compliance and make sure that it's all correct and that you're not going to have any problems. And 4 or 5 months go by and then the ATF doesn't approve you because there was some issue with your application. Silencer Shop checks it and makes sure it's good before it all gets transferred to ATF e-forms. So it kind of helps to put you at ease a little bit. You know that your application for your SBR is going in correctly. That's kind of nice. I've done a bunch of them now. I've got 3 suppressors and this will be my 4th SBR. And so far, I haven't had a problem with any of them. The problem that I've had has been, the wait time. And that's something that, traditionally we've just had to deal with NF Adams. Now in the last year, those wait times have come way down for some people, for a lot of people actually, the majority of people. But some people, like myself, still don't get those quick wait times. So what do I do about that? And now this isn't going to work 100% of the time, and it's not going to work for everybody. But I did a video about this a while back, and hundreds of people in the comments tried it and got their approvals the very next day, as did I. So I was waiting on 2 suppressor approvals, 2 Form 4s. This one and this one right here. It had been 4 months on that one and 2.5 months on this one. Actually, I think the opposite. 4 months, 2.5 months, whatever. And I kind of got sick of waiting. And so I emailed the FBI. The email address is nixliaison@fbi.gov with my permit/control number. And the very next day, I got approvals for both suppressors. So let's backtrack just a little bit. But that is something that you can do if you've been waiting longer than what the average wait time is. It might be worth sending them an email. It did work for me on those. Now, it hasn't worked for me on this. I've been waiting 2 months now for this Form 1 SBR, and I sent them an email just the other day, and I got back a generic response basically saying, when your application is complete, you'll get an answer from the ATF. So obviously it doesn't work every time, but I might try to get in a month if I don't have an approval yet. Generally, my SBRs, this being the 4th one, have taken about 2.5 months. So I'm hoping that I'm almost there. But anyway, once Silencer Shop has submitted all your stuff to the ATF, well, generally by the very next day, you're going to get an email saying that you need to certify your application. Now this you're going to do on the ATF website. It is very simple. There's instructions on what to do. You just follow the instructions. It might take a while. The ATF website is very slow. I've had certifications that were quick and easy and ones where it just kept not really working. But once you certify, then you get an email that your application is in process. You get a permit control number. That is the number that you'll use, that you'll reference if you do email the ATF a couple months later, or the FBI, NICS actually. If you're, hoping to get that approval and you've been waiting a long time, a lot of people are getting approvals in a day or two still, and some people like me are waiting months. So I bring this all up, well, mainly because I've been getting questions about it in the comments. And it really is that easy. I know this video has gone on for a minute now, but really, do the Silencer Shop kiosk, get all your fingerprints, your picture, all your stuff submitted electronically through that. Silencer Shop has that on file then from that point going forward. And then anytime you want to get a new suppressor, you just go to your gun shop, get it, go through Silencer Shop again. Anytime you want to get an SBR, any other NF Atom, you can just do it at home on your computer through Silencer Shop's website because they already have all of the necessary information for you. And so that is the way that I submit my SBRs. To me, it is worth that extra $50 for the lack of headache, to make it quicker and to make it easier and just stress-free, to know that your stuff is submitted correctly. I think that's nice. And then Silencer Shop also, you'll have your own account on there and you can check on your stuff on there. It doesn't update very well. I've got approvals for NFA items that on Silencer Shop's website still show waiting for approval. So whatever, it kind of is what it is, but at least you can see that all your stuff's there and that it's, you know, correct, which is kind of nice too, because on the ATF website, you go on and you try to look at your, you know, pending forms and stuff, and you just don't see anything, which kind of makes you wonder if it actually got submitted or not. So it's kind of nice that Silencer Shop, you can actually look at it and be like, okay, I know it's submitted. So anyway, I feel like this video has gone on long enough. I hope that this was helpful for anyone that is thinking about doing an SBR. There are a lot of benefits to keeping your firearm as a pistol. You can travel interstate without having to notify the ATF. In a lot of states, you can keep it, you know, loaded in your car as a, you know, it's a pistol, so it's like a carry gun. Whereas an SBR, you can't really do that. You do have to notify the ATF if you're going to travel to another state with your SBR, but that's an easy form too, not a big deal. And mainly, it's nice just to be able to set your gun up the way you want. Put the stock that you want on it, the foregrip that you want on it, and have your gun be exactly how it should be. For a Mark 18, I can't imagine keeping it with a pistol brace, to be quite honest. Mark 18 should be an SBR, but we shouldn't even have to SBR our guns. I've done many videos about that and how unconstitutional the NFA is. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and you know, I'm not going to risk going to federal prison by having a YouTube channel and showing illegal guns on it, and so I do go through the proper channels and unfortunately pay for tax stamps. It's the world we live in these days. You can do whatever you like. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Make sure you subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical. Down in the comments, let me know if you use the Silencer Shop kiosk or if you think that there is a better, easier, or cheaper way to do it. Let the viewers know, because people do want to know. They've been asking me about it for a while. So here is that video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.